Could this issue come up again if it really hasn't been resolved from what we can see?
Imagine this, a clash in the Arctic. The United States, the world's most powerful military, pushes to grab Greenland by force, and NATO fractures.
Using military force to take Greenland.
Could the United Kingdom, a modern global power with a proud history of battlefield success, stand in the way? Could British forces help defend Greenland if Denmark called for help? Today, we're diving into Britain's military might in 2026, what UK leadership is saying about Greenland right now, and whether the UK could realistically resist the United States in a geopolitical showdown in the high north. Let's get straight into it. Right now, the world's geopolitical landscape is shifting, and fast. Tensions have exploded around Greenland, the vast Arctic island that is part of the Kingdom of Denmark and a strategic pivot of global power. Leadership has publicly stated a desire to acquire Greenland, even hinting at the use of force if necessary. Across Europe and in the UK, that rhetoric has set off shockwaves. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer is drawing a firm line. Britain will not yield to pressure from Washington over Greenland and insists only the people of Greenland, not foreign powers, should decide their future. UK defense officials are warning that we're entering a new era of threat, and this isn't just about Russia or China. It's about preserving the rules-based world order that has kept peace in Europe for decades. So let's break this down. Britain still punches far above its weight globally. Britain remains one of the most capable armed forces in NATO. It fields an advanced Royal Navy, highly trained army, and powerful Royal Air Force equipped with modern aircraft, ships, and submarines. The UK also maintains a continuous at-sea nuclear deterrent, Trident, with submarines that can instantly strike from underwater anywhere on the planet. In the last few years, the UK has undergone a massive defense overhaul under its 2025 Strategic Defense Review, pushing modernization, boosting personnel, expanding reserves, and investing in cutting-edge technology like long-range missiles, cyber warfare capabilities, and AI-integrated systems. Britain's Royal Navy operates carriers capable of projecting power worldwide and plans to build up to 12 new nuclear-powered attack submarines as part of a sweeping capability boost. Yet, despite impressive tech and strategic assets, the UK does not currently maintain units specifically dedicated to the Arctic or the defense of Greenland. Deployments there have so far been symbolic, including a single British officer embedded with European forces in Greenland rather than large expeditionary forces. This is important when we talk about real combat scenarios. Greenland's defense is technically within the NATO framework, and Denmark rightly emphasizes it as a collective concern. Europe, including the UK, has already begun joint exercises and deployments in the region under operations like Operation Arctic Endurance to deter any hostile action, focusing on Russia, but also signaling unity against destabilization. But how would the UK respond if the United States, a key NATO ally, suddenly acted unilaterally to seize Greenland? The short answer is politically, militarily, and legally, this is uncharted and almost unthinkable territory. NATO decision-making requires unanimous agreement for collective defense actions, meaning the US itself would likely block any NATO force opposing its own offensive. Independent British military action against America would shatter the alliance system that has underpinned European security since 1949. In other words, even if the UK wanted to physically confront US forces, hundreds of thousands strong, with unmatched logistical reach, it would not be practical, realistic, or politically sustainable for the UK to go to war with America in Greenland. So let's be clear. UK special forces and carriers wouldn't single-handedly stop American infantry, air wings, and naval battle groups pushing into Greenland. But that doesn't mean Britain is powerless. Britain's strength lies in deterrence, alliance politics, diplomacy, and technological edge. Rally European and Nordic nations leverage NATO's legal mechanisms to block unilateral action, impose economic measures alongside allies, place British military assets in strategic locations to signal collective defense, and support Denmark and the sovereign guardian of Greenland with intelligence, logistics, and specialized units. UK leadership has made that clear. Starmer and his government are actively engaging with Denmark and NATO allies to strengthen Arctic defense as part of collective NATO deterrence, not unilateral British conquest. Furthermore, public opinion in the UK is broadly supportive of defending NATO allies through diplomacy and economic pressure, though only a minority backs the idea of an outright military confrontation with the US in such a crisis. Right now, UK political elites, from the Prime Minister to defense ministers, are unequivocal that Greenland's fate belongs to its people in Denmark and that coercion or force is unacceptable. The UK is also playing the long game, strengthening Arctic deterrence discussions within NATO, building up cutting-edge defense industries, and modernizing its military footprint to adapt to the future of warfare. So, could the UK stand up to the US militarily if a conflict erupted over Greenland? Here's the honest answer: not on its own, and certainly not in direct combat against US forces. But could Britain rally allies, leverage diplomacy, and contribute war-winning capabilities as part of a united NATO response against unlawful aggression or coercive takeover? Absolutely. And that's where its real strength lies. Britain's armed forces are disciplined, battle-tested, and loaded with modern hardware, from nuclear submarines to lethal air power and elite army units. And the UK remains one of only a handful of nations capable of projecting force globally in 2026. The narrative that the UK alone would physically stop the US and Greenland, that's fantasy. But a united NATO coalition led by values, law, and force projection, that's something the UK is fully equipped to support, and something your viewers will be talking about long after the video ends. Because in the world of geopolitics, strength isn't just about who has the biggest muscle. It's about alliances, principles, readiness, and the courage to stand up when history demands it.